Hello, everyone. This is Betsy Ben, Director of the Produce Safety Alliance, and I'm joined today with Gretchen Wall, the PSA Coordinator. We're going to provide you with some updates to the temporary remote delivery policy that we've recently released to address the needs during the COVID-19 outbreak. The things you're going to see in this webinar are a direct result of the March 23rd webinar or educators call, where people pointed out some things that could be fixed in the policy. So that's what we're going to talk to you about today. Gretchen?
Okay, so two documents are key for your review. We recognize that we did do that webinar earlier last week, but we have since updated the temporary remote training policy, and the link is shown on this slide. The link is also available in the YouTube description field, so feel free to pop over if you're watching this on YouTube right now to open up that policy. It's also on our website under COVID-19 resources and the updates to this policy. And then we've also posted a frequently asked questions document, and that FAQ document really came out of questions that we received on the March 23rd webinar, as well as a webinar we hosted in Spanish on March 26th. So there's additional information and detail about the policy and some questions that you might have in that document. So we recommend you review that. As I mentioned, we did conduct this webinar in Spanish, and that was conducted on March 26th. That webinar actually had all of the updates included in it. So if you watch the recording on YouTube from start to finish, that includes all of the updates that Betsy and I are about to talk about in this particular presentation. But we wanted to let you know that it is available in Spanish in the presentation and in YouTube. All right, Betsy, you can talk about registration.
Thank you. The first thing we're going to talk about is how things have changed regarding registration. When we had the webinar on the 23rd, we initially thought we'd be able to just convert registrations that were for in-person into remote delivery. But after setting up some things, we realized there were some complications. So there are three options here that I want to talk about. One is that if you have an in-person course that has been registered and it's going to be registered anytime soon, where we're not supposed to be having in-person trainings due to risk of transmission of COVID, you just need to go in and cancel that course. How do you do that? You contact AFTO and you let them know you want to cancel the course. So that's for in-person trainings that you just want to cancel. You're not going to do anything else with them. You're just not going to have them. The second one is that you have an in-person course that you've registered, but now you'd like to hold that course remotely. Okay, so for this part, which is the second bullet on the slide, you're going to cancel that course. You're going to contact AFTO, cancel the course. Okay, then you're going to go in and you're going to use a new registration form that we have, and you're going to register that course as a new remote course. Okay, so you can't just convert it. If you have an in-person course that you want to deliver remotely, you got to cancel it first by contacting AFTO, and then go in and register the new course on the new PSA Grow registration form. The third one is you never had a course to begin with, but you've decided you want to tackle remote delivery and you want to register a new course. So you go in and you use that form and you fill it out and just sign yourself up for remote delivery. Okay, you have until May 31st if you want to use the remote delivery option. We may extend that date depending on how things go with the outbreak, but those are your three options for now. This picture and this link go to the new registration form. You can see it here. This is a copy of what it will look like when you go there and pop up the new PSA Grower Training Course Registration Form. It is an online form. So if you've downloaded the old paper one, not using that anymore. Here you can see highlighted in yellow, I would like to register a new course for remote delivery. This is the same form we will be using for traditional in-person trainings, but right now those are not recommended to happen again, because of the risk of transmitting COVID. But this new form will cover all registrations moving forward. I want to make that clear. So it's not just for the COVID outbreak, but this will be the form moving forward. Next slide. Okay, so that covers course registration. I should have given Gretchen a chance to, is there anything you want to say that I didn't cover on registrations?
No, other than that online form, the registration form will now be used for both in-person and remote
Right.
courses. So we've
Yep.
basically done away with that paper form that you download, and you can still go to the AFTO site where you would normally download the course registration form, and it'll just end up linking you to that site that you just saw on this slide.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
just
I did.
wanted to make everyone aware that everything is going through this online form now.
Yep. That's a reiteration of what I mentioned. So that's good. Hopefully everybody hearing that twice will internalize that. All right. The second thing we really changed that Gretchen mentioned we were going to talk about was evaluations. So we're going to talk a little bit about the details and the importance of evaluations and how things have changed since we talked to you all on March 23rd. So all courses need to be evaluated. That has not changed. This is the main way that we're going to verify that these remote trainings are high quality, that people are having a good experience, and that they're getting the information they need. We have set a standard of at least 50% of the evaluations being returned in the first week after the course. Why is this? Well, remote delivery is something very new to us, and we want to make sure that it's working like we intend it to work. We normally monitor evaluations, and we do have a policy that says if you don't turn in evaluations, which are normally sent in a group, that if you don't turn them in, we will contact you and then eventually remove your lead trainer status if we don't get them. For this evaluation part, we're setting that limit of 50% because we have to have something to go on. We're saying it within a week because we don't think people will think to do it after that. And we want to also encourage you to walk them through how to do it, because it is an electronic form that Gretchen is going to go through in detail in a few minutes. But we want you to help them walk through it so that they can submit it. So that's what the standard is going to be, and we're going to monitor that. If we find out there's a problem one way or another, you'll hear more from us. In-person trainings will continue to use the paper evaluation forms that are provided by AFTO for the time being. Right now, electronic evaluations for remote delivery, paper evaluations for in-person delivery. As always, do not reuse course evaluations from AFTO because those course IDs are specific to the training on that day. And we're going to talk about that more in a second because that course ID number is now going to be the file name. So next slide. The evaluations for remote trainings are now going to be electronic format as a fillable PDF form. Again, this is a change, brand new form in response to requests that were made on March 23rd. They will come in an email from AFTO after you register your course. So go to the new registration form, register your course. AFTO will get the registration and approve it like normal, and then they will email you all of the course information as they normally do, and they will send you those evaluation forms in an email. It will be your responsibility to then email that evaluation form to all the participants in your course. Once they have the fillable PDF, they can save it to their desktop or mobile device, fill it out, lock it, and send it to PSA to go into a folder. Again, Gretchen's going to go through all of these details, okay? But this allows, a couple of the comments from the webinar were concerns about participant privacy, evaluating their trainers in an anonymous way. This addresses all of those things. So we think this is a good solution to the requests that were made, and we're going to move forward with giving this a try. Next slide. Okay, so I think I'm going to let Gretchen go through each of these forms and show you all of the pieces and parts of what the form looks like, and then we'll come back and have some more discussion about it.
Sure. So you all will recognize the evaluation because it doesn't look drastically different than the paper evaluations that you previously have been using for in-person courses. The main difference now is, like Betsy said, this will be a fillable form that's electronic that you'll email to your participants. And the major things that I want to point out here are the information and the instructions that are in red text on the left-hand side at the top part of the evaluation, which we'll go through step by step. And then also the course information that is at the top right corner of the evaluation. That course info is going to be populated by AFTO. So you won't actually even be able to change that. It'll be locked in that particular file. And this is very similar to the in-person paper forms that you previously received. They normally put in the course number, the course date, the location, the trainers. So if you do end up registering a remote course and something changes, like the trainers or the date, you would just let AFTO know so that they can issue you a new evaluation, and they'll update that content that's in the upper right-hand corner. But the course number is really important because that course number is also the identification for the file name. So let's walk through each part of this evaluation step by step, just so you can see what the process is. And I do want to mention too that when you register the course and it's approved, you'll get additional instructions that you can review, and you can even send on to your participants if they're having difficulty. Not everybody is as technologically inclined as others, so we'll make sure that it's very clear in this process, but it is fairly straightforward. So generally, the form has 4 steps. So the first part of the form is just to enter in the responses and text, and this should be something that's happening throughout the course. With an in-person course, you would encourage participants to fill out the evaluation as the presentations occur, so it's fresh in their mind. So as the remote training is occurring, they'll use the form to enter in their responses for the evaluation. They'll then save the file. I'm actually jumping down to number 3 here. Save the file using their original file name. So whenever you receive it from AFTO, it'll be titled with the course ID. That evaluation will actually be titled with the course ID number. Don't rename that file. Leave it as course ID number, whatever AFTO issued you, and send that to your participants, because that is what needs to be uploaded onto the PSA website when they're done. I'm moving around back up to 2. 2 and 3 should actually be switched. But there will be a process for locking the answers on that form that they're filling out. And this is mainly to address issues of or concerns about, once the document is uploaded into our hands, to make sure that no one can tamper with that information or change responses. Once that participant locks that information on the form, they cannot unlock it, and they'll have to restart using the original form sent from their trainer if there's sort of an accident that happens and they press the button too soon, but we'll get into that in a second. So locking is just an added assurance. It does not mean that if they forget to lock it, that it's not going to work. It's just an added feature that we put into that form. And then lastly, step number 4 is to upload the save file to the PSA website. So again, just to go through those steps and show you an example, first is filling out the evaluation. You'll notice that when you open that evaluation file that's electronic, you can just actually click on each one of the numbers, and it's a button, and then they can actually just enter in text like they normally would in the comments boxes. Once they're completed filling out that evaluation, they should then save the evaluation. And this is something that you may need to help participants in the course with, because not everybody knows how to save a file or where to save a file. But they should be saving that file, again, with the course ID as the name. So as an example on this screen, you'll see the file name should actually include, for example, New York 200320GRRD. That's coming from AFTO. That's the original file that will come from AFTO. So encourage them not to change any information in the file name when they upload that onto our folder. And again, just in case you need a reminder of where that number is coming from, that number is the course ID, and that's in the upper right-hand corner. So if somebody saves it and says, you know, this is Gretchen's file.pdf and realizes they need to retitle it and don't know where the course number is in the upper right-hand corner. So here's the part that I was talking about, locking the responses. So after they've finished and they've saved the evaluation to their desktop or to a file folder on their computer or phone, then they can lock their answers on the form. Basically, this is just an added step. It's not essential to the process. It's just a way of participants feeling confident that their answers are protected from editing. Once you click that button, it'll basically, the JavaScript will disable the data fields and lock what has been entered into the PDF. There is no undo for this action, but when you click that, it'll actually pop up with a warning box that says, are you sure you want to lock your answers? So it will require them to confirm that they're ready to lock their answers before they're all done. So again, it's not essential to submitting the evaluation, but it is just another way that people can feel confident that they're submitting their own responses.
I think it's important, I just want to reiterate, sorry, Gretchen, just want to reiterate that some people may not be able to lock. That's not a panic. If it doesn't lock because of some JavaScript issues, it's okay. They can still submit it. Just want to reiterate that.
Yeah, the key point is that it needs to be saved. If it's not saved, they're going to be submitting a blank form to us. So
right.
That's the important part.
And it's also key that it have that number, because that's how we're going to group them once we see them. So that's also important.
Yeah. So then the last step would be having them upload that evaluation onto a folder that we've developed online. It's a secure folder. We actually can't even see who drops it in. So on our end, it just says anonymous person submitted an evaluation, and then it'll show the evaluation file. So it's just a drag and drop. At the top of the evaluation, you'll see a URL. They can click on that URL. It will take them to this website, which you'll see a screenshot of here on the screen. They just drag and drop that save file into the box, and if it's successful, in the lower right-hand corner of this particular slide, you'll see it'll say success, your file has been uploaded. So that's the confirmation that you know that the file was successfully uploaded. And that's the process for filling out, saving, locking the answers, and uploading the evaluations.
Thank you, Gretchen. That was great. I do want to talk about this technical assistance and some things we can and cannot tell. So as Gretchen just mentioned, once they put it in the box, we can't tell who submitted it. So all we can do is count the number of participants that were at your training and count the number of evaluations we have. So we don't know who in your group submitted the evaluations, because we can't share that information with you. So one of the important things is that you as a trainer plan to have time in your training to help people get through understanding the evaluation, how to fill it out, how to save it, how to lock it, and how to upload it. Because again, we're expecting to see at least 50% of the people in your courses submit an evaluation. Some participants are going to need extra time for this. You're likely to have people in your courses who maybe have never filled out a fillable PDF or have never uploaded something to a website. So that's important to know going in. We recommend adding 15 minutes to the agenda at the end of the day to walk them through this. By that time, they will have filled out the form. So really what you're working on is helping them save, lock, and upload. Again, we have a week, but a week should be plenty, because if you make time at the end of the training, it'll be that time that they do it, and then you're done, and you don't have to worry about it, and we don't have to worry about it, and the participants don't have to worry about it. So that's why we really stress that time and technical assistance at the end. Here's the important point. Normally, you're supposed to give them evaluation time at the end of the course anyway, so that time should be there. This will engage you a little bit more than normal by helping them walk through these stages. Next slide. Questions and support. We are here to help you. We know this is a difficult time. We know this is a new thing for a lot of folks. So I'm here to help. The Regional Extension Associates are here to help. And if you have any questions, please visit us and let us know. In addition, Connie Fisk from our group has agreed to offer office hours to help you learn Zoom and allow you to practice on the platform. She's going to do that every Thursday, April 30th through April 30th from 12 noon Eastern time or 9 a.m. Pacific and all the other times in between, Central Mountain Time. There's the link for that. My point is help is available. And we really want to help you be successful because we think it's important for the stakeholders.
Yeah, and I would just offer too that if you let us know that you're having a remote course and you just would feel better if somebody from PSA would be on there at the beginning to help you go over the evaluations or just kind of generally get the meeting rolling. If we're available, we're happy to join those because we're all remote at this point. So if we're available, we're happy to help in any way we can.
Yeah, and I would extend that if you need a co-trainer or anything, let us know what we can do because we're absolutely happy to help. We know some states are trying to move forward with inspections, and so we want the growers to be prepared as best they can.
And that's also a good point, Betsy, in that if you are looking for a PSA lead trainer or other trainers to fill out your training team, we do have a directory on our website. So you can actually search by trainers, search by lead trainers. You can even search by trainers of trainers. But that's a tool that if you want to build out remote training and you need some additional folks for your training team to check out.
Yep, all good information. Thank you for adding that. As always, here is the PSA website. To remind you guys, we also have it in Spanish listed there. Lots of good links. All the stuff we talked about today will be up there, including a copy of this video. And thank you for your time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening back in so that we can add new information to the webinar and the educators call that we had on March 23rd. Gretchen, you want to say anything?
No, just thanks for your time. If you have questions, don't hesitate to email us. And I think, there's a lot of information in the policy and in the new FAQ document, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email or call one of us.
That's important because we can always update the FAQ document. If you send us a question that we haven't answered appropriately, we can add that. And we really appreciate the comments from March 23rd. They made us rethink a lot of things, and we think these changes will be very helpful to getting this done properly.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a bunch.